Megan, why did you want to change Fiji and Maui's diet?
When I first got them, they were just eating regular dry kibble, and I've always been interested in nutrition and the effects it has on our bodies, animals' bodies. So I started doing some research, and I got really concerned about the pet industry and what's going into commercial grade pet food. That's how I came across the ultimate diet, the one they're using right now.
What were some of the biggest health concerns that faced Fiji and Maui?
They each came to me actually with individual but severe health problems. Fiji, she had a murmur, and when I took her to our vet, they said it's not just a murmur, it's a significant murmur. And she was having a lot of problems with energy, lethargy, things like that. And the other side of the coin with Maui, she was the runt, and she was kind of sickly. We've always had a hard time getting her to gain weight. She was vomiting, her eyes would be goopy, red, and weeping, a lot of sneezing. It's basically like having a really bad cold all the time. And she wasn't eating very much.
So Kimberly, why did you want to start your own pet food company?
There wasn't enough alternative foods out there. There was mostly just commercial cooked foods. And I know that dogs shouldn't be eating cooked food. They are naturally, biologically set up to eat raw foods.
So what's in your food? What makes your food special?
Raw meat. We also put in fresh organic vegetables, garlic, various kinds of flavors, powders, things that would nutritionally supplement the food, and oils, vinegar, things that they would probably not get in the wild.
And how long has she been on the food?
She has been on it since her birth, and her mother as well.
Kimberly, you mentioned that cooked food is not great for animals, and we'll talk about the ingredients in conventional pet food, but what are some of the concerns with actually cooking your pet's food?
Well, they're not biologically set up to eat cooked food. They don't have the enzymes to digest it. They are unable to draw any nutrients out of a cooked piece of meat.
Well, I'm sure you know there's a lot of controversy surrounding the raw food diet. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a bit ridiculous. Like, I've had some vets say to me, oh my God, I can't believe you're feeding your animal raw food. But when you think about it, what do you think a cat in the wild has been raised on? They would go out and they would kill and eat a mouse, and it would be fine. I don't think it makes much sense to feed your pet something with a lot of byproducts, preservatives, and grain, which is just not what they would go for in the wild.
Kimberly, you obviously know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding raw food. What do you say to people who say they're not getting the right kind of nutritional value from a raw food diet?
I think that's probably overblown by the veterinarians. They want you to think that they're the only ones scientifically that can make their own dog food, and sell it.
Kimberly, when it comes to conventional pet foods, from the research that I've done, there's some pretty scary ingredients that go into that. Rendering factories, for example. Can you talk a little bit about some of those issues?
In some of the biggest brands that people would recognize easily, there are what's called rendered meat. Rendered meat can be anything from euthanized dogs and cats, which contain phenobarbital when they put them down, when they euthanize them, which is never cooked out at any level of temperature. Roadkill. The cats and dogs are rendered with their collars on, which also contain pesticides, serious pesticides, some of them. And also those are not cooked out at even high temperatures.
How come this is allowed?
There's no regulation, that's why. The products come in sometimes from out of the country. They're not properly regulated at the borders. They're not tested. They're not, they just have no regulation whatsoever. The only regulation I am under is the labeling code. I have to whatever's in my bag, I have to label it. But I don't have to label anything that came in one of the ingredients.
Like what? Can you give me an example?
Phenobarbital. So they can say meat, chicken meat, but they don't have to label the phenobarbital that came, because the chicken might have been euthanized with phenobarbital.
So how do people protect themselves? If I go into a store and I want to buy pet food and I'm looking at conventional pet foods, what are the words that I should be looking for? Byproduct?
Well, byproducts, yeah, that's a big one. Anything meal is everything from beaks and toes and, yeah, just horrible stuff. Other things, well, of course, any preservatives or anything, of that nature, I would never put in my dog's food.
Since you've incorporated a raw food diet into your cat's daily routine, have you noticed any big differences as far as health concerns go?
Oh, like night and day. Maui doesn't have the vomiting constantly anymore. The sneezing actually completely stopped. But we have many more times when she's doing fine. She's got no goopy eyes, no allergies, and they both have a lot more energy actually.
Megan, you've done all your homework, and of course your cats are seeing the benefits of that. If somebody else was trying to incorporate a raw food diet into their pet's daily routine, any advice, any tips?
Perseverance. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You have to slowly introduce it to the food they're eating now and gradually take that away. If you just give them a bowl of raw and just wait, it's too foreign to them. Their taste buds have to have time to change. It's not going to happen overnight, so you really have to give it a few months.
So patience. Thanks, Megan.
Fiji and Maui have improved since starting the raw food diet. Every animal is different though, so it's important to do your homework and find the best food that suits your pet's lifestyle.